Go. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to assume that we're Facebook Live because you never know when it really actually clicks over. But thank you guys so much for hopping on this Zoom/webinar tonight. I'm just really excited to be here in this time and this age and the craziness that we're all experiencing right now. So thankful for you all to be on here. That means you have your health. Prayers go out to everyone that does not have their health and might be fighting what's going on today. And if they're facing financial stresses, our prayers and our positive vibes go out to all those people. And tonight's webinar really kind of spawned from this idea of really what's going on in the world. But then when I started to talk with my good friend, who I'm going to introduce in a little bit, it kind of spawned into this idea of, let's talk a little bit more about why it's important to have something profitable in your life, like a stream of income that's actually driven by profit instead of wages. Because right now, I think, Carrie, you gave me a quote the other day, or a stat that was like 3 million people were filed for unemployment the other day in Utah that you were telling me about. And it's just insane what people are going through right now. And so tonight's webinar is hopefully to maybe open your mind a little bit into the idea of profitable income streams, and also doing profitable income streams from home, because we can't go anywhere. So there's not really a ton of options. And so that's what we're really here for tonight. There's some stats that we're going to share with you. But again, tonight is really just a conversation between, as you can see, 4 people. I'm going to throw the gallery view on here real quick, just so you can kind of see us all at once. But tonight I've got a few guests with me. One that I'm really excited just to kind of hear from and hear his insight on our industry as a whole. But before we get to kind of our main guests and speakers and all that kind of stuff, I wanted to kind of just introduce myself a little bit, and then also introduce somebody that I'm starting to work with very closely. I feel like we talk 9 times a day, which is a really good thing, and I really enjoy it. When I see her name come across my phone, I pick it up instantly, because we have quick calls. We're on and off the call in about 5 seconds sometimes, it feels like. And we have a lot of fun together. And, I've been in the home-based business industry in some way, shape, or form for almost 17 years now. I started out when I was a babe. I was selling Cutco knives in my summer job and stuff like that. When I was a dog trainer, I trained dogs for about 7 years, and part-time I started selling knives, and I had no idea it was a direct sales company called Cutco. Love company's great. I could still cut a penny and make a swan and all that fun stuff. And that was my introduction to the industry, and it became like a hobby of mine for, I think, almost about 7 to 10 years, where I just absorbed the industry, and I really didn't have a success until about 10 years in, and we started really having success. I teamed up and partnered up with some amazing people, and we just had a lot more fun even then too, because that's what really direct sales and network marketing, it's supposed to be a fun thing to do. It should always feel like it's adding to your life, not taking away from it. And it's really been an uphill battle the last decade, I think, in this industry, because of the economy and everything that's going on. And with what I went through, I kind of retired like 9 times and said I would never do it again. And even retired. And I worked for, people in the industry that were earning 6, 7, 8-figure earners. And we were doing branding and marketing for them, because I was like, I can't do this anymore, so I'll just help them do it. And then it got to the point where I was seeing what's going on in the industry, and I was like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be something out there that is a mission driven. It's something like that could be a legacy company. I searched high and low, thought I found something, and then I realized what people need is they need help. They need an extra $500 a month. They don't need to think, how am I going to make $1 million in the next 10 years? They need $500 a month. And with most companies, if you've ever been in a direct sales network marketing company, and I asked them, I go, well, how do you make $500 in your company? Because I'm like a comp plan hobbyist. I collect them like baseball cards. And I'd go, how do you make $500? And they go, well, if you take 3 and times it by 2 and divide it by X divided by 6 over 0, you're going to make $500 a month. And I'm like, well, what's X, A, B, C, and 0? Well, you just got to go do it. Just go talk to people, go build your list. And so when I found this company that we're going to talk about tonight, it was one of the first questions I asked was, how do you make $500? And Carrie said, well, two ways. You get 10 customers, you make $500 a month. Or you could help 4 people get 4 people as distributors, and you make $500. And I was like, all right, so what's the catch? The product's got to be super expensive, right? You're probably selling like $1,000 product. No, it's $89. Like, oh no, so $89 or $99, and you're saying that people are going to earn $500 a month by referring 10 people. Well, somebody could do that, refer one person for 10 weeks. There you go. And so that's what really allowed me to start digging into this company, because I pushed back on it like you couldn't imagine. And I pushed back hard on a few friends that attempted to tell me about it. And eventually I just gave in, because one friend said this to me. He said, listen, you're most likely having these limiting beliefs. What if you take all those beliefs you have about the industry, this company, what's going on, and you put that to the side and you really looked at it without a filter on it? And that's what I did. I said, okay, well, let me look at this, and this. And they all checked out. Is it a perfect company? No company is perfect. But this has all the check marks that somebody needs to make $500 and be able to help other people do the same. And so that's what I wanted to kind of share with tonight. We're going to go back and forth a little bit. But what I want to do is I want to bring on Carrie Kruger. Carrie, I've gotten to know over the last 6 months or so, and she comes to this industry with almost twice as much experience as I do. So 17 years here, 30 years for Carrie, and she is just a very dynamic, just woman in general. I never like to use the term leader, because like leader just sounds like I've attained this thing of leadership. And really, she's just a good person that's good to other people and has ethicals and morals. And you take that with a business that you want to help others do the same, and you're just going to have success. So Carrie, I wanted to kind of have you share a little bit about what you've seen, what we've been working on, what we've done. Really, I'll share some numbers and a little bit of what we've done in 4 days. So we've only been with this company for 4 days. I mean, disclose that too. So Carrie, share a little bit from your insight of what you're seeing.
Well, thank you, James, for that great introduction. And thank you all for being on tonight. I appreciate you so much. I've kind of seen it all in 30 years. I got involved as a young mom because I decided I didn't want to be a congressional aide and work in politics. I just wanted to be home with my babies. And so I've learned a lot in this industry. I've been a party plan queen. I've sold things at parties. I never want to do that again. But at the time, it was beautiful, right? And I quickly learned that selling a consumable thing that I'm passionate about and sharing that with other people was kind of, really important to me. Like if it was a life changer for me, my passion is mental health, physical health, and, pain management. I've become a life coach. I've done a lot of really cool things in my life. I've always had a side business. I've always partnered with companies I believe in. And, again, seen it all 30 years. That's a lot of time. And great successes and some failures too. And I love that, every opportunity is an opportunity to get better and to learn. And this industry is morphing, right? MLM, as we know it, is dead. I mean, it is all about the gig economy. How can we help people participate in this online world and share and recommend things that they believe in, that they love, that change their lives? So I think for me, really, it's about dialing down and just helping people join us and experience our products, share with a few people, share their testimonies, participate, have fun, right? And if they so choose, to develop a business or lead in a company, that's up to them. And that's on us to match people's efforts. So, I love studying compensation plans. I love elevating women. I was able to raise 4 children at home. My kids are all grown. And now I'm about, spending time with my grandbaby. I'm helping to start a nonprofit, working in the horse world, doing equine therapy. And so, money is a tool and we all have dreams, but gosh, hasn't this last, month taught us that we're all, $500, $1,000 away from, discomfort, right? And so I think, how can we empower, the 80% of people that want to participate in our industry and have them feel good and have fun? And that's really what I'm all about. Of course, I'm a woman, so of course I want to empower women, but I work with men too. I love working with everybody. And again, I'm just honored to be here, and it's been a joy to work with you. For those of you who don't know, James has mentored a lot of people in my life who are top earners in this industry. So he comes with an incredible skill set, right? I mean, I'm a talker. I love connecting with people, but James is the back end guy. He's brilliant. So it's such a joy to work with you, James, and we have a lot of fun. So I'm excited to, Dan, we're meeting tonight for the first time. Nice to meet you. Carrie, I've had the chance to vet him and talk to him, and he's the real deal, guys. So this is exciting to me for the gig economy, for people that are looking for an extra income stream. So thank you so much for having me on the call.
Awesome, thank you. Well, you're making me all get all blushed and everything. I don't think Thompson very well, because again, I don't really think what I do is, and it's probably bad on my part, I don't think it's very special. I think it's just something I've learned and acquired skills over the last 17 years. And it's kind of prepared me for, where we are today. I think that's kind of how life is. Yeah. And so I really want to transition over to our next speaker, because it's kind of the spawn of how this came to be. Because, when you're looking at the gig economy and you're looking at people going through what they're going through right now, you have people that had a stable job, they had a stable wage, and it was taken away from them, not on their own volition, not even because of the economy. It was something that no one could predict. And now it's like, well, if you have a wage and you don't have a plan B, you're in trouble, because you have to have a plan B in case something like this happens. And there's a magazine that I have here. It's called the Welcome to the Gig Economy. And in it, it talks about the average American under the age of 35 has less than $2,600 in their account. The average American 75 and over, $10,000. Average American 45 to 55, $4,100 in their account. You look at that and you go, how long is that going to last? And so these stats and the things that we're doing right now, like our group, we've added like 140 people in the last 3 days. We have a group that's close to 500 people in the last few days. It's growing so much. And you're like, in this economy, how does that stuff grow? And you're like, well, because people see the value. People need to make money. They need to make that extra $500 a month. And they're willing to do something about it because, hey, they're home. There's nothing else to do. And I want to introduce our next speaker is Carrie Thompson. And I was introduced to him through a friend. And again, I'm a skeptical when it comes to any human being. I'm like, yeah, well, let me Google you. It's like, okay, yeah, I know. Yeah, he says you're good, but really, what's that mean? And so Carrie's background, he's been in this industry for about 23 years. And his resume is as good as you can make it, I think, in this industry, because not only has he been a top income earner, I think at 2 companies, but he's also been on the executive side. He's been on the consultant side. He's international. So, he can go to Asia, he can go to Russia, he can go to South America, and America, of course, too. He lives in Utah. And so he has that ability to kind of do all those different things. He has a dynamic personality, but he's also very down to earth, which is not a usual combination of the two. Usually when somebody kind of has a resume like that, they kind of live up here above the clouds. And Carrie isn't like that. He's really somebody that you get to know and you go, well, you know what? I really do trust this guy because he comes from a place of integrity. So I wanted to have him share about something that's going on in his life right now and kind of how he got to there, because he's about to give up a nice paycheck. We're not going to go into numbers. So he's giving up a wage that during this economy, you'd be like, well, I'd keep on to that wage. He's going to give it up and he's going to pursue a profit. Now, will that profit pan out? He hopes it does, because he thinks that's the best thing for his family. But, what goes through somebody's mind and why would they actually do that? So, Carrie, I'm going to kick it over to you, whichever way you are, and have you share your story with us.
Well, James, hey, thanks for that really kind introduction. And Carrie, it's always good to hear from you. I love coming on and seeing you guys and working with you guys. And again, guys, we have a special guest, Dan Putnam. I'll introduce him in just a little bit. If you don't know, I'm sure you know who he is. He is he's the force behind Be Epic. So I'll talk about him in a little bit. Guys, the reason I love Be Epic is because it's a very unique company. When Dan talked to me about coming on board, we had, as Dan mentioned, we hadn't had more than a couple of conversations. Next thing you know, I'm out in Russia, right? And I've never worked in the Russian market before. What really surprised me was we did a meeting one day in Siberia. And after the meeting, how people want to come and shake your hand. So Dan's kind of in the back corner. People are taking his photograph, shaking his hand. They're doing the same with me in another corner. But the interesting thing was, as I shook these people's hands, they weren't hands like I'm used to shaking. I'm used to shaking executive type hands, people who sit behind desks, their kinds of hands. These people had calluses on their hands. These were working, hard class working people that worked in factories. They worked in assembly lines. They did hard labor, but they were at this meeting. They're probably close to 1,500, maybe 2,000 of them at this meeting. And they were there because they were in a company that was providing them an income in a very difficult market, which is Russia. And so that was really my introduction. And one of the first things I thought about was how is this working in this market? And if you've ever been to Russia, it's on the other side of the world. And here's a really cool thing. BEPIC is actually has the capacity and the infrastructure to ship a package from Utah to California, and it end up in somebody's doorstep in Siberia. Now think about that. I've got people asking me, well, can we get a package shipped over to Italy? Well, the fact is, if we can get it over to Uzbekistan, to Siberia, across the other side of the world, we can probably get your package delivered to Burbank, California, right? Also, our e-wallet, our iPayout, is an amazing platform that really enables a global-based business. So there are a lot of things I can go on and on about BEPIC. I have on other calls, but tonight I'm going to focus a little about leaving the corporate end and going into the field as a brand partner. As you mentioned, I've been in BEPIC. Truly is a unique company. It was built for the 80% of the masses, right, who want to earn who $500-600 a month would solve their financial problems. And the thing about it is, I've heard this spoken about in a lot of companies. You know, I've been in board meetings where, as an executive team, we'd say, hey, you know, we want to create this to be able to help all these people. But the reality is, you know, they need to find 25 to 30 people on product purchase just to break even. So I want to give Dan Putnam a lot of credit for what he's been able to put together. Also, I'm so excited to be in the field. And I knew back in Russia, I had this moment where I was on stage and I was talking about creating your own economy. You really can't create economy by yourself. The only way you can create your own economy is you have to do it with a team of like-minded people to leverage different things. And one of the things that I read and I talked about was people are paid what they have the power to negotiate. So when I talk about that, it's really important to understand that what you can negotiate is your value. It's not what somebody assigns to you. And I'm at the point where I said, you know what? I love what we have. I love the opportunity, and I actually want to go build in the field. We can help more people that way. And BEPIC is at a position where she's good. All of her systems are running. The product gets shipped out on time. The pay systems work. The infrastructure is in place. Customer service is there. Everything that you would need to make a company successful, we have it in place. So I have no reservations about going into the field. And quite honestly, I really don't do this with companies that I've worked for before, because to be truthful, some of the companies that I've worked with, I would never join as a distributor because I see how decisions are made. You know, they're made on profit, not prosperity, right? They're made on greed, not for the good of everybody. So we have an amazing opportunity. You talked about the gig economy. We know what's going on in the world today. Today, there are more eyeballs at home on computers than there's ever been in the history of the world. We have more technology, more ability to create sales and cool things from our living rooms, from our laptops, to be able to help us go out and grow. So our business platform, guys, is really simple. We've got great products. We have a really cool system. So I'm excited to be in the field with you guys, to work and do what we need to do. So with that being said, I could go on, but I really don't. We've got a really special guest tonight. I'll introduce him. It's Dan Putnam. I've heard about Dan for probably the last 20 years. I think he was in a company I was in a long time ago. And Dan is, I kind of describe him as a rainmaker of sorts. The thing that I love most is Dan's been a distributor. So I've been with a lot of companies where executive teams are hired by investor groups, right? They have experts come in, but they've never really built a business. And if you've never built a business, you don't know what it feels like to call people. You don't know what it feels like to have comp plan changes that you are unexpected. You don't know what it feels like to have product changes with nobody telling you. Dan's experienced that. He's built businesses to a very high level. He's been very successful as a top earner in the field. But more importantly, I don't think Dan really ever wanted to start his own company. From my conversations with him, he's done it out of necessity because the type of company that was needed was not in the market. So that's what he went ahead and did. So I want to take this opportunity to introduce a good friend of mine, Dan Putnam. Dan, thanks for joining us tonight, brother.
To give the really quick version on my vision and my goals for BEPIC, it's really pretty simple. I've wanted to create the best duplication and retention model ever created, because I wanted people to have the ability to create a full-time income in their spare time. Most people don't have the ability to just go straight out and work 40 hours a week in an MLM. And even if they did, there's no saying that they'd have any more success than the person working 4 hours a week. And the reason why is most people originally starting out, unless they have a massive advertising budget, they only have their center of influence to contact. So contacting your center of influence, that's a couple days. After that couple days, what in the world are you going to do for 40 hours that's going to have good results? The answer is there's nothing. I mean, if I work 4 hours and I work a little bit smarter, I can outproduce somebody that's working 40 hours talking to unqualified people all day. And I've also noticed that network marketing is not just about what you do, it's all about the leverage. And so we wanted to create something with a system and a concept that was so simple that somebody could build that in their spare time. And once they get to a full-time income, when I tell this story and when I tell what I've envisioned for the last 26 years, they think, oh, if I'm full-time, just think of how much more money I could make in the business. And I'm working 4 or 5 hours a week. What if I worked 40 hours a week? And that's really not what we're after. What we're saying is we want the business to be so simple that you can do whatever it is you're passionate about on your full-time basis, and really have what the theory of network marketing is. That whole theory is time freedom, financial freedom, money freedom, creating leverage. But what I can tell you, my first 10 years in the industry, after struggling and finally getting to an income, which took 4 or 5 years to even get to a decent income for me. I started when I was 18. I had a super slow start, and it wasn't because I didn't take it serious. I didn't work hard. It's just a tough business, bottom line. But what I realized in doing all of that, once I finally started making a lot of money, it wasn't all that time freedom that you're thinking of. I wasn't sitting on the beach all day. I was literally on the phone 10, 12, 14 hours a day, because I built my business mostly on the phone. We've done a lot of different strategies, but phone's kind of been one of my main go-tos over the years. And I was thinking, man, where's the time freedom? This is like 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I'm getting calls on, Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that. And at first it was kind of cool when you had all that excitement, you're grinding and just trying to make the income. But now you already have the income. Now it's like, man, this is not what I thought it was going to be. And then so many of the companies have so much structure required in order to keep your checks, like where we go up to diamond, and then before that's platinum, and before that's gold, and before that's silver. And those are the only ranks we have. But typically, in order to hit diamond, which is our top rank, you would have to have so many platinums, and the platinums would have to have so many golds, and the golds would have to have so many silvers, and the silvers would have to have so much volume. So if you have a company that has 5 or 6 ranks, then you typically have 5 or 6 levels of structure required in order to maintain that. And what I've noticed over the years is people lose structure way before they lose all their volume. And as soon as you lose the structure, your check drops like a rock, because now you're not qualified to get paid on all that volume that you have. And so now you have people that are in a company that's, let's say, 6, 7, 8 years old, and they're not the new kid on the block. They're not having the massive momentum. And now I have to think, okay, for me to get my check back up, I have to go rebuild all this structure. And rebuild all that structure is very difficult. And most of them are thinking, I really can't do it. So what happens is almost forced just by a bad model, not because they don't like the company, not because they don't love the company, just because they're thinking, I'm better off to go find another company, even if I'm starting over from scratch, that has a ton of excitement, because building this structure back out is super, super difficult. And so I saw company after company after company lose leaders that would have loved to just stay there, but their income dropped so much, mostly because of the structure. If the volume leaves, there's nothing you can do. But when the structure leaves, but you still have the volume, then it becomes frustrating. So I started to think of, why can't you do something with a little bit less structure? There has to be some structure, but it doesn't have to be so difficult. And so we wanted to put things together that are pretty simple. We already talked about a lot of them. Being able to break even with 2 people. Actually, you can break even with 1 person. You can actually profit with 1. For instance, if I'm just buying Elevate for $50, or let's say I'm only buying Hydrate for $25, and I get somebody to buy an Epic Pack as a customer, that customer is going to pay me $50 I'm buying $25 for the product, I'm in profit with one. But typically what you're looking at for profit is if somebody's buying the same pack as me, how many people do I need to get? So with all of our products, that's 2 if you get customers, and nobody in the industry is beating that. Nobody will beat it in the industry. The only thing that beats 2 is 1. You can't profit with one person unless you pay over 100%. And so we're very confident that nobody's ever going to beat that model. But that's just half of the equation. The next half, we wanted to look at distributors. What does it take to break even there? Industry average is around 15. Most unilevels pay between 5 or 10%. If you just figure how much does that have to get to 100% plus shipping, handling, and stuff like that, and it's about 15 people. On a 2-team plan, the industry's average is over 30, meaning it takes over 30 people, 15 left, 15 right, just to break even in a typical 2-team plan. So we wanted to look at some things. What could we do in order to get more people breaking even faster? And that's why we put the lifestyle bonuses. 2 who get 2, 6 people, you're going to be in profit. 3 who get 3, 12 people, you're going to be pretty much tripling your money. And then 4 who get 4, $500, 5 who get 5, $700. The other thing why we put that lifestyle bonus together is we look at, we're in a global economy. So we have 7 billion people in the world. And out of that 7 billion people, over 5 billion of them make less than 500 a month US. So when you have 5 billion out of 7 billion that make less than 500 a month US, it makes sense. Why don't you put something together that can show this 5 billion people how to create a full-time income with 20 people? And when people really understand that, I think that's when the excitement gets. People in the US love getting that $500 and that $700 bonus. It excites them. On the 15th of the month, they're like, oh man, I forgot about that bonus. And now all of a sudden they go into their e-wallet and there's another, $300, $500, $700. But people in Peru and people in Siberia and people in other parts of the world, it's life changing. That's a full-time income. And when you look at, you're talking 12 people get you $300. When we have employees and stuff in Mexico, the starting wage, kind of the minimum wage of a non-skilled job is a little over $200 a month. Same in Peru, same in all Central America, same in most of South America. So people don't even imagine that $200 a month. They think that they might make like $800 or $1,000. But if you're looking at a non-skilled job or low-skilled job, I guess, it's starting just over $200 a month. So that's 12 people to get to what you call kind of a minimum wage type of an income in most of the world. Siberia is the same thing. All of Russia is pretty much the same thing. And what's crazy, when you're there, things are just as expensive as they are here. If you're going to, the restaurants and going to the different places. So I thought that that's life changing when you really look at it. People in the US, yeah, if you can make an extra $300 to $700 a month, that takes a little bit of the pressure off, but it's not necessarily life changing. But there's 5 billion people in the world that's a full-time income for. And when you think about that, can I teach almost anybody on the planet how to build a team of 12? Even if it takes 3-4 months, it's doable. Can I teach them how to build a team of 20? If you can build a team of 12, you can build a team of 1,200, but they don't think that in their mind. My theory is like in the cold market, if you can sponsor one person, you can sponsor 1,000 people, because it's just kind of that same thing, shampoo, rinse and repeat. It's just, staying consistent and going. But a lot of people don't really realize that. So if I go through an exact plan and show people, hey, if you got 2 people in 48 hours and you duplicated that in 24 days, it's 8,100 people. Most people aren't going to think they can do 8,100 people in 24 days, even though they believe they could probably get 2 in 48 hours. And really the only difference is duplicating that. So what I'm getting at through all of this is, in the company, we wanted to make it super easy to break even, help with retention, help create that excitement, change lives. But then we also wanted to make it, once you're making that money, you don't have to jump through all kinds of hoops. So in order to max out our compensation plan and qualify for everything, it would be a 70 CV order, which most of those are $89. If you do it in the sample packs, it's $99. If you get the hydrate, the Epic Pack Plus, it's $99, but most of them are $89, in that range. If you want to max out the binary, it's $25. Now it's $14.95. So you can literally still make $20,000 a week at $14.95. It just doesn't make any sense. Because if you're making 20,000 a week, you have a large group in order to make that happen. So you're cutting your 2-team pay in half. It's going to take twice as many people to make the same amount of money than if you just bought a bigger package. So we're doing it because it makes sense, not because they have to. And so what I'm getting at is when you only need one active left and one active right, an active is either a $14.95 order or 2 customers. Because we don't talk about it a ton, but I think it's important to point out everybody can join the company for free. As a free member, you can get unlimited customers, and you can also get unlimited fast starts. Once you have 2 customers, it activates your position in the 2-team plan. So an active position is an order. The lowest order we have right now is $14.95. That's only through the app. On the website, it's $25 is the lowest order that we have. That creates an active position or 2 customers. So to max out this plan, you need 1 active left, 1 active right. Everything else is volume. You don't have to sign up X number of people. You don't have to create diamonds. You don't have to do it. You're going to do that anyways. And that's kind of how I looked at it. There's no 7-figure earners that I know of in the industry that haven't sponsored a good amount of people. And there's no 6-figure earners that I know of in the industry that haven't sponsored a good amount of people. So why do you have to force all this crazy structure? They're going to do it anyways, because it's just, they want to make that money, and they know they're not going to do it with sponsoring 2 people. You could do it with sponsoring 2, but what's interesting is if you look at all of our competitors, there's almost none in the industry that you can go with just the absolute simplicity of a 2-team plan, get 2, who get 2, who get 2, et cetera, and everybody makes money. That's not true in most companies, because most companies you have to have like 7 left and 7 right. You can get paid, but very limited pay with just 2. You have to add all this other crazy structure. And all the structure does is create breakage. All the breakage does is makes the company a little bit more money and makes the distributors very frustrated. And so what we're looking at is obviously the company has to make enough money to be a company and to sustain, but at the same time, do you want a sales force that thinks like you're going to bat for them and you put something together for them? Or do you want a sales force that's constantly thinking that every tweak you're making to the comp plan is to take more of your money and put it into their pockets? You know, some people get excited, and Utah's a unique place in the MLM industry. A lot of companies are flying people in and taking them to the home office and showing it. And some people will be like, man, the home office is so beautiful. It's absolutely amazing. It's incredible. And to me, I just think differently. If I'm a distributor and I'm seeing this home office, I could say several companies right now, I won't. What I think of is, I mean, there's home offices here that have like a 40, 50-foot waterfall right in the place, and live, I mean, massive jumbotrons with all of the leaders in the company and all the recognition. And it's beautiful and it's amazing. River running through the home office, and, you know, all of this type of stuff. It's there and it's beautiful. But here's where I look at, who paid for that office? Did the owners pay for it? Yeah, with your money. You know what I mean? So those are the things that you have to look at. When the company makes money, it's coming from distributors and customers making purchases. And so I've always thought, wouldn't I rather have an owner that like understands that the money's coming from the distributors, it's coming from the field? And obviously you want a safe place for the employees. You want, you know, in a safe area and air conditioning and heating in the winter and all of that type of a stuff. But it doesn't have to be a $100 million building in order to do that, because all that money could have gone back into the comp plan. And so that's really what our desire has been, to really create that best duplication and retention model. Because at the end of the day, if you can duplicate, that multiplication adds up very fast. Everybody's seen that penny doubling a day. For 30 days is 5 million, 31 days is 10 million. That's the same with people. And so if I sign up 2 people my first month and they sign up 2 people their first month, what that means in 30 months, I have a downline of 5 million people. 31 months, I have a downline of 10 million people. You don't ever have to be able to sponsor more than 2 in order to make unlimited income in the industry. All you got to be is able to duplicate. If I can sponsor 2 and I don't duplicate, I only have 2 people. If I can sponsor 2 and duplicate, then I have 6 people, and then I have 14 people, and then I have 30 people, and then, you know, it goes from there to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions. And so duplication is the key, but the next key is retention. And so everything that you see me doing is because of having these thoughts of what can we do to create the best duplication and retention model ever created. Because if we do that, then we're going to have that long-term stable residual income for the distributors. If we don't do it, then our distributors are just going to be looking for another opportunity 6 months or a year down the line. And hey, I know that not every distributor that joins BEPIC is going to stay in BEPIC. It's never going to happen. And I wouldn't wish that they did unless they were reaching their goals, right? I don't want somebody to come into the company and not have the success that they're after. But what I want to get people to realize are you're not having the success that you're after because of the actions you're taking, or is it some other reason? And most of the time, to be honest with everybody, it's the actions that people are taking, the lack of consistency, and just that whole human nature, grass is greener. And just because all these other people in this company are making money, I mean, right now everything's kind of on BEPIC's side. We have people that have come over. We have several people making now 7-figure type incomes per year, 6-figure per month. Some of them have done it in 4 months from scratch. And so people are seeing what can happen, and they're seeing how the comp plan works and different things like that. Carrie was just out less than a month ago in Russia giving Andre, who's our top leader there, a recognition for he's earned over $4 million. We're barely 3 years old. He's earned $4 million living in Siberia, average income $200. That's crazy. With Andre's work ethic and literally just his work ethic, if he was in an economy like the United States, I don't know what he would make. I mean, it's unreal when you think of that. $4 million, that means, and this isn't a founder of the company. This isn't a master distributor of the company. He wasn't even on an outside leg of the company. Everybody says, oh, I need to be on an outside leg. I need blah, 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 all of these types of things. So you have a distributor that's probably about 10 levels down from the company on an inside leg and made $4 million. Pretty impressive in 3 years in an economy that the average income is $200. But now we have people that are seeing that and saying, holy cow. And now we have people that, started in December that are already making, crazy incomes without, getting into actual amounts and making things happen. So we're excited. James, I'm excited to have you guys on board. Carrie, awesome to meet you. And I will be quiet because I was probably supposed to answer some questions and stuff like that. But it's exciting, man. I mean, just I can sit here and refresh every minute and see more sales happening from the app. And it is. And then, we're now at almost 200 packs. That's $20,000 in sales since we've been on the phone here, just from the sample packs. And we didn't even do a big announcement that we're launching it at this time. This is kind of like
I just learned about it just now from you. So,
so that's what I mean. We wanted to kind of do a soft launch and make sure everything was working before we, went out and said, hey, everybody, the sample packs are in your back office and stuff like that. We just kind of wanted to test it out. People are seeing it and letting other people know. But anyways, I appreciate you having me on, and I'll be quiet and just stick to questions if you have any.
Yeah, I don't really have any other questions to wrap up with, but I mean, Dan, thank you so much for the time and just creating a company that, one of the biggest things that's going on right now on Google and in the world is people are looking for a work at home opportunity. And, those words used to be like taboo, even 2 months ago. And people would be like, oh, well, work from home, that's kind of silly. Why would you do that? Opportunity. And now, people are seeking it out. And, while network marketing and direct sales is one of those work from home things, I think it's when you really look at it, you go, this is a really great place to create some real leverage. And then you kind of look at all the opportunities that are out there and you go, okay, well, how do I pick one? And I think it really kind of comes down to what we talked about tonight, making it so it's for the person that wants to make $500 a month. It's for the person that doesn't have to learn how everything works. And, in terms of, we didn't even talk about like the product and what it does and how it does it. I've been in this industry for 17 years. I've tried every product under the sun. I'm pretty much that guy when somebody joins the company, they're like, James, you want to buy it? And I buy the biggest pack. I just, sure, there you go. And for this, when I came in and the person I was talking to was like, all right, here's the big pack. It's one of these. it's one of these, and it's one of these. And I said, okay, what's the big pack? And they're like, it's one of these, it's one of these, it's one of these. And I said, all right, and let me try. I was super skeptical, and I've tried patches and gels and creams and you name it. I've tried it. I put it on or put it in, and they all have similar effects, but I've never felt as good as I feel on this product and as stable as I feel on this product. And with just one of these versus 19 things or 18 pills. And I think Carrie, do you want to chime in there? I saw you raise your hand like this. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so what I love about this too, if you think about this, so people have the options to make money in real estate, as a franchise, they can work for wages. This is ultimately a live asset, you guys. We get to jump on board with something that we see has value for the world, and we get to decide what effort we want to put in. But make no mistake, this is a live asset that you get to build, and you get out what you put in. It's the purest form of entrepreneurship in my mind. So don't forget about that. People are looking to figure out how to create another income stream. And I think this is really magical in this day and age, the gig economy, the online world. And, wellness is a $1 trillion industry. So this is really exciting. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, James. I'm really excited about what we have to offer people globally here.
And Dan, just so I clarify one thing. So if somebody tonight said, hey, you know what? I want to open my business. Opening the business tonight is $14.95. Like, that's really what it costs. Is that
Right,
accurate?
through the app only though.
Through the app, right?
Yeah. So we don't have that on the normal website. And the reason for that was we just really didn't want to take away from what people are already doing. So if somebody doesn't, because there's some people that already are ready to buy it for the 89, and then they say, oh, there's a 14, I'll try that. You know what I mean? So we just wanted to throw it through the app. But yes, that puts them a distributor, puts them in a position. They're active to get paid. They get 2 people. They're now 2-team qualified, and we're just trying to see how fast we can go with that.
Yeah, and I think that's huge. So like right now, tonight, if you're watching this, if you watch this whole hour that we were here, we kind of went about 30 minutes over than we would have wanted to go, but that's okay. And we talked about a lot of information. But if you're like, all right, what's the point of this whole thing tonight? It's, hey, here's an opportunity to be able to have a product that actually works, and it's not complicated, and there's not a lot of education around it. It's nootropics, it's like basically having a smoothie in a pill, and it's got all these great attributes to it. Give it a try. I mean, I gave it a try, and I'm now on, I think this is day 7 or 8 for me. And to be honest, a week ago, I would not be having this energy at 9 o'clock at night. I've tried other products where I feel this way, but I kind of feel a little on edge too, and not with this. It's something that, I can fall right asleep to as well. And so I would encourage you, get back to the person that maybe shared this with you, maybe invited you to this webinar, and go, okay, how do I get started? What's the best way to get started? Like Dan said, the best way, it's $89. If you can't afford $89, that's okay. That's why we have a $14 advantage. But that allows you to go into business and actually get the product and use it before you refer it to other people. Because that's a big thing. You got to have belief in yourself. So guys,
one thing I'd point out, James, just to be super quick.
Yeah.
One of the things that I tell people to do with that app is refer it even before you've tried it. Mm-hmm. Because one mistake that people make is thinking that I have to love the product in order to make money.
Yeah.
What if you don't love the product, but like 50 people that love the product?
It's true.
And so that's one of the things I try and get them to realize is, hey, try the whole system. The product is part, the app is the other part. So as soon as you order, don't wait to see if you love it, because they're out $14.95. It's not a massive deal.
Right.
And go look at the Facebook page. You're going to see thousands of people that love it. And just because it doesn't work perfectly for you, don't cut yourself short on that it can work for all these other people. And also, this is something that anybody could use. It's not going to, I can't imagine that it's like, oh, this isn't, this made me jittery or something. I mean, it's a face serum. Hydrate, same thing, great kids, So we have some very basic products that are going to benefit everybody, even if they don't love this. I just wanted to point that out because I used to make that mistake all the time thinking, I don't really like it. it's hard to kind of promote something that you don't like. If you don't like any of our products, BEPIC's probably not for you. But one of the things that I'm saying is sometimes people make that, oh, I got to try it all, I got to do everything. And it's like, not necessarily, because what if you try it and you have a weird experience on it for whatever reason, chemistry, whatever, but 50 people that would have loved it and gone absolutely berserk with our systems and everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes to just get that in people's
Adjust
mind.
it. Yeah. What if you could adjust it to have a better,
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, on our day 3, we had like 140 people in, so it wasn't. I didn't have this huge experience of like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing, and there's 140 people in the business, and we've got a group that's close to 500 people now, and it's been 3 days. So and again, it has to come back to the product. The product has to work, the system has to work, it has to be effective for the average person to go, hey, I can do this, and that's what you've created here. That's what I love about this. I haven't created nothing here. All I've created is gone, hey, go join this, see some stories, and if you want to order it, here you go to order it, and that's it. There's no education. I just love it. So thank you so much.
James, if I could just jump in real quickly, I mean, this is why I'm excited to be in the field.
Yeah.
I mean, it's here. Everything that we've been looking for the last 20 years is here, and there's so much innovation, and we've been able to hear from Dan, on why he did what he did, the vision behind the company, his process, the strategy. We're going to cut some great content from this video. So Dan, thanks again so much for tonight. And Carrie, if you want to add and follow up, and we'll wrap it up. And we're going to do another call. Is it Monday night at 7 p.m.?
Yeah, Monday night, 7 Mountain, we'll do a call. And so if anybody wants to invite to that, just let us know. And that'll be just a call that we're going to do every week. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to share some stories on there. So hope to see you on Monday. We'll make sure that everyone gets that link and gets an invite to that if they want it. But again, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Carrie, for hopping on here. And we'll talk.
Take care.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.